Good morning. Welcome to Energy Works. Today we're having some technical glitches trying to get onto Instant Silly Seminar, and they won't let me launch the web call. So anyway, there's always some glitch. So today we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is kind of similar to last week. We were talking about the things that trigger us in life. And I think one of the things when we are triggered can be that we choose to argue. And arguing, of course, sometimes has to happen. We have to have a discussion about what we believe or what we feel is important. Sometimes people are not prepared to have a discussion, or, we might have the same discussion over and over again and never get anywhere. And sometimes we just have to agree to disagree. But know that when we have these conflicts, that there are things there that are not clear. The energy is not flowing smoothly, so it's like we need to do something to help the energy flow. So I wanted to clear some energy around that sort of thing. And I think Christmas time is a very difficult time for a lot of people. Facing family, facing the loss of family members, the reminder of who's not here, the reminder of things that aren't going so well. So wanted to try and clear some energy around that to help us feel a bit more able to deal with what presents itself to us at this time of year. And for a lot of people, it is hard. All right, so the first thing that comes up is the 8th chakra, which is like the grounding chakra. So it's like this need to be connected to the earth, and we are part of the earth. It's like we're not just people that happen to be here. We are part of it. We would have been all spirits when it was being created. We would be, invested in what was going to happen, invested in the opportunity we have to come to earth. All of those things would be an investment for us. Right, being flighty and easily distracted. And sometimes it can be like that. You've got a lot of things going through your head and you find it hard to be present and to be doing what you need to be doing. Good morning, Elizabeth. All right, so now we're going to go into the crown chakra. And I guess it's trusting the things that happen are for a reason. Sometimes we don't know the reason. Sometimes it seems hard to imagine that there could be a reason. Neroli oil comes up. All right. Neroli aids in realizing deeper states of connection in intimate moments. It also encourages individuals to address the emotional barriers that impede healthy sexual expression and connection. Neroli gently reminds that sexual unity is a key aspect of relationship happiness and to take the time to nurture this process. And sometimes life gets in the way. It takes, for some people, it's hard to feel the desire to be connected with, like you may feel that you're not worthy of connection, or you know that it's too hard to be connected, or you know there's too many things in your head, or when you're not feeling good about yourself, sometimes you just don't feel like being touched. So it's like addressing all those things. So still in the crown chakra, it's okay for me to have faith in things I cannot see. I'm not measured by possessions or connections. I clearly see my own divine nature. My electrical circuitry and brain chemistry work in harmony for my highest good. Right, so still in the crown chakra, I'm going to use Jenny Rosenthal's book. She's got that over 1,000 categorized positive and negative beliefs. My heart is open and flowing. Right, finally. So whoever's on Instant Teleseminar, sorry, they wouldn't let me join in. So currently we've been going for a few minutes, but thank you for your patience. All right. So we're talking about the crown chakra and this, like, allowing this connection to God. And even though arguments and things present in our life, it doesn't mean that we're not connected. It's the opportunity to do things a little bit different. Okay, something else in the crown chakra. This is a funny affirmation. Ignoring what needs to happen because I just don't want to know. I can understand that. Sometimes it's all too much. I am easily assimilating all of my life experiences. And some of the experiences we have are really tough, but it's also the way that we learn things. So it's like yeah, praying and meditating to get the help to get through these difficult experiences. Some people really have a lot of challenges, and I'm positive that we agreed to these things before we came to Earth, but it doesn't make the challenge any easier right now. All right, we're going into the aura, so layers of the aura. So the fifth layer. So stagnant energy stuck in the 5th layer of the aura. Something in the past. Age 8. So where were you? What were you doing when you were 8? Good morning, Susanna. Good morning, Chris. Facebook's not telling me how many people are on there. Welcome. All right, so talking about things that you might regularly argue about. In my case, that would be the swear word budget. We can guarantee an argument with that word every time. And of course, I think a lot of it's my stuff. My father would have us write every penny down that we spent when we were kids, and I really feel intensely argumentative about that. So it's not a very healthy situation. Is there something that you could guarantee an argument every time about, and can we clear energy on it for you? Good morning, Margaret. All right. All right, something in the 4th layer of the aura. So tears. Age 10, something happened in which we had got a tear in our aura. So some stuck emotions in there. Feeling nervous. What would you be nervous about? And also something in the 3rd layer of the aura. So the 3rd layer is leaking energy. Current females, so who might be a bit of a bloodsucker to you, or what we can call some friends just require a lot of energy, aren't they? They high maintenance friends, let's call them that. Chris says being told what to do or how to do it triggers me badly. Yeah, I can understand that. I could include in that one being told what to say. It's like, I've been talking for myself all my life. Don't tell me what to say. All right, so let's go. All right, age 3 is the start of that one. So where were you and what were you doing when you were 3? So something to do with dad, what dad didn't do, what would you have liked your dad to do? Feeling defensive is the feeling that comes up. So when people are telling us what to do, I guess it takes away our sovereignty, and it's different if we ask for help or we want to know ways to do things or be supported in it. It's different than being told what to do, because that assumes that we don't know or what we're doing is being judged as not right. So that's not so helpful. And I guess that affirmation, we already picked this one up before, but it is okay for me to have faith in things I cannot see. So I guess we're not seeing the growth that comes through this argument that we're trying to deal with. We're not understanding what we need to understand through it. All right, age 12 comes up here as well. The feeling that's stuck here is feeling powerless. So when you don't get to, have a discussion about what you feel or to talk about, ways to operate, it's like we do feel powerless. We feel like we have no control in our life. And it feels like you're a child again. So now we're going into the second layer of the aura. Again, stagnant energy accumulating here. And some stuck emotions. Okay. The feeling of stubbornness. I think that would have to be one of my favourite feelings. So wanting to dig my heels in and do it my own way, which is good and bad. We could also call it determination, and we need determination to accomplish things in this life. But it can also be a detriment that we maybe don't ask for help when we need it, or that we're unwilling to accept the help that's being offered because it's not offered perhaps in the form that we would like, or it's not offered kindly or in a way that we can still save face. So then we want to rile against it. All right. All right. So this is also affecting our grid. So we've got grid lines in our body. It's like graph paper, horizontal lines, vertical lines. And so it's like sometimes the lines get damaged. It can be like if we actually have an accident, or sometimes people energetically attack us, and that can damage our grid. Okay, so Elizabeth says, when I feel sick, I feel powerless too. Yes, we do feel powerless, isn't it? But we also know when we're sick, isn't it, that the energy is stuck somewhere, and perhaps we've been too busy to listen, or it's been too hard to address it. And then it's like we get struck down and we're forced to look at whatever it is, which is painful in more ways than one. All right, so the right side of the body, the grid's damaged. Lower body. Like the right lower back. All right, so stuff stuck in our mind. All right, I follow where the light leads. So sometimes we can have these arguments or blow ups about things, and things can really come to a head and be like a volcano. And if we're able to, once we've cooled down a little bit, we can have this discussion about, what it is that we both feel in the situation and, to come to some sort of agreement. Because sometimes it's necessary for there to be this explosion for things to actually be dealt with. Otherwise, it's like this constant rumbling underneath and, pulling back or pushing away or, just not being able to address what's going on. So sometimes the blow up is necessary to bring it to the front. All right, age 42. All right, so age 42, and the feeling that's stuck there is lack of control. So I don't know, what were you feeling lack of control in when you were that age? And also age 8. Age 8, the feeling of worry. So let me know, is that something that brings up a memory or a feeling or something that you can share? All right, another feeling that's got stuck too is the feeling of being unsupported. And I guess when you feel very passionately about something and you talk to someone else about it and they won't engage with you or they cannot see your point of view, it's very infuriating. And we can feel, we can feel rejected. We can feel that you're not understanding me, you're not listening to me, you're not understanding what's important to me. You mightn't agree, but could you at least listen? So we're asking, is there something else that prevents us from being heard? All right, so generational baggage from your dad's side of the family and the men, like 54 generations of men. So this is a very strong pattern. All right, another feeling that's stuck is shame. Now, we can feel shame when people are unwilling to listen to us. We can feel shame when people don't understand our point of view or when we feel disrespected. We can feel shame when perhaps we can't present our case well and, we're ridiculed. We can feel shame when we uh, can't protect ourselves or we feel distressed by what's being discussed and we might resort to tears, which can feel disempowering. And sometimes people can reject us because we cry, so it's a dicey situation when we feel very passionately about something and we're requiring others to try and help understand us. All right, we're back to that crown chakra again. All right, I'm worthy of divine love and protection. So we've spoken, I think, before about the refiner's fire. So it's like to refine silver, and I'm not the expert, and I might not be saying this right, but this is my understanding. Um, when they refined silver, they had to put the silver in the flame to burn off the impurities. But you can't just leave it there and go make toast. It's like you have to be watching. So it's like when we're under this process of the refiner's fire and we're really being tested, the very metal of our souls is being tested, we can feel like we've been left there to burn. So, but understand that we're only in there just long enough to burn off the impurities. So it's like, it is hard to trust though when you're in that situation that you're going to survive, that you're going to actually get through this. It feels like absolutely crushing when you're going through it. But we become better, purer, more strong, and more useful, more a better vessel through which God works to help our life to be an influence for other people and for our families, and even for us to change the way that we look at things. Right, in the brow chakra now. Right, my intuition and awareness are gifts. So sometimes it doesn't feel like a gift because we can be given information or we can feel things of other people, and sometimes we don't know quite how to process that. And it's hard for us to express what we want to express because we can feel how the other person feels, and they're not okay. So we know that, if we're having an argument with someone, there's our triggers, but there's also their triggers. So it's like sometimes away from the argument, we may need to clear some energy for ourselves, for the other person. There's always, aspects of it that probably are the perfect storm to help bring out whatever needs to come out. Right, my brain functions optimally. I choose to be happy and balanced. I cut through any illusion and find the truth. Chris says my intuition was always dismissed. Yeah, that's very disempowering, isn't it? When you feel strongly about something and you know that it's right and people don't want to listen. That is very frustrating. And for some people too, they will warn their other half or the people that they're with, or, family, friends, whatever, about a situation, and you may be ignored and they don't, and you can see the blow up that's coming and you're trying to help them avoid that blow up, but they have to go there. So it's like allowing people to do that is hard. Right, reactions to feelings. So it's almost like an allergy to your feeling. All right, what comes up is over analyzing tiny details. And I guess it's like, it can be like not wanting to make a mistake, or if you feel that something didn't go down well, it's like, pulling it to pieces to see what went wrong or what we could do better or what we need to learn. And it's like constantly looking at it, overanalyzing, thinking on it over and over again. So this has got a generational component from dad's mum, but the men on that side of the family, 20 generations of men. All right, so now we're going to go into life rhythm. So we're going to go in through the water element, which is like kidney and bladder meridian. So we're going to go more on bladder. So the bladder's reacting to feelings. Belief in mass negativity. And we've certainly experienced that, haven't we, in these last few years? Huge amounts of mass negativity, and also being divided, like the powers that be, or even if we say good team versus bad team wanting us to be separate and not wanting us to be acting together and acting in unison and harmony and peace with each other. And I truly believe that there's a balance of good and bad in the world. And often we can only see the bad, but remember that you're part of the good team. You came here at this time, especially to be part of the good team. And even if you may feel powerless, you just being you is part of the good team, and you send out signals and you send out ripples in the pond which affect other people. And even if it's not a huge crowd, even if you only influence one person and they influence one person, it's still profound. All right, so the metal element is affecting the bladder, so the lungs, which would kind of make sense in terms of like the meridian clock too. So bladder meridian is normally active between 3 to 5 p.m., and the opposite time is lung, which is 3 to 5 a.m. So bladder is at its lowest when lung is at its highest. So often if our lung meridian's not okay, we might be waking up to pee at that time. All right, something from age 8 stuck in our lungs. Feeling taken for granted. And that can make you feel Margaret says it pees me off. Thanks, Margaret. That's funny. Does pee her off. Okay. So these taken for granted, especially as a child, it's like your opinion didn't matter or what you felt didn't matter, but it hugely matters. It's like, when you work with someone and you go back to, a childhood event, it's like it still affects us to this day. And it's like every time we get that same feeling, it's like we've cast straight back to that moment when we felt this original feeling. And it's like we feel disempowered as a child because people aren't honoring what we feel. So if we weren't honored as a child, it's like us, the adult, have to honor the child within us and to listen to what they have to say. All right. So then this brings us to the throat chakra. So it's like actually being heard. Feel like you can say something and someone's going to listen and, take in what we're saying. All right. Often avoiding the truth or facing painful facts. All right. So Chris says from that time, domineering mother. Yeah. So, and we've probably done the same thing as mums, that we, felt worried about our kids, and we feel like you have to do what I say or you won't be safe. And, we've probably insisted on things as well, but often we're less insistent than our mothers were. And we get better each generation. And we're also here to clear the patterns. All right. I no longer fear rejection when I speak honestly. And sometimes we can be scared to speak honestly because we've been shut down in the past. So it's like we're waiting to be shut down. All right. Love opens the door for me to feel whole and complete. So I guess it's like the opportunity to revisit these situations that's been stuck in our body all that time. Like we can see ourselves as hurt at that time by, our mothers that perhaps didn't know exactly how to do things perfectly and sort of, believed that they could do it by just, you know, barging on through. Uh, if you think back, they probably didn't know exactly what they were doing and just trying their best. But, and we can be guilty of the same thing. But it's like having compassion with ourselves, forgiving our whoever offended us from that time, and reconciling with the child within us and telling them that you love them and that what they want to do, you want to do it with them to help them heal, and so help the child within us heal. Right, others are comfortable with what comes out of my mouth. And I don't know, it makes me think of when we were at school, there'd always be someone in the class that would say something, and the whole class would go, "Oh, so and so." So sometimes we didn't allow people to express themselves, or we found frustration with how they express themselves. And maybe that happened to us as well. All right, I'm confident in the healing power of love to open my throat for greater self expression. Right, if I ask if there's something preventing us from expressing ourselves, it's age 6. I'm secure with what I say. All right, age 8 again. The feeling of lack of control over events. So we all hate that we don't feel like we have control, or sometimes it's like, I guess it's like falling over. Sometimes it happens in slow motion and you can just see what's happening and you can't stop it. And it's just like this horrible powerlessness as it unfolds. And so sometimes we can see this happening in situations around us, and we're trying to prevent that from happening. Right, we're going to go into the 10th chakra, which is about the good, the bad, and the ugly. What comes up is adrenal fatigue. So I think when we've been under the pump a lot, and even when we've grown up in families that have been a little volatile, we always feel like it's that fight or flight feeling. You're ready to fight the lion when the lion jumps out in front of you. And if the sword doesn't work, you're going to run away. So you're going to be on your tippy toes. So your calves get tight, your feet can be sore, your upper back can be sore because you're always under that duress. All right, so there's an oil called Elevation, which is also called the Joyful Blend. At the moment, that oil's hard to get. I think you can only get it in kids. All right, elevation can assist individuals in letting go of lower energy vibrations. And Chris says, I was always on alert. Yes, that's right. It's this takes up a lot of adrenaline when you're always on alert waiting for the bad thing to happen. All right, negative habits lose their appeal as an individual shifts into higher levels of consciousness. And so sometimes the result of this always being on alert, it's like we can become people pleasing or we can become controlling because we want to prevent bad things happening. And so this can be an addiction, addiction to control or addiction to um, being hyper vigilant, to being always aware of what's going to happen and being ready. All right, this blend can raise one's energy levels and energetic vibrations into higher states. It can inspire feelings of cheerfulness, brightness, courage, relaxation, humor, playfulness, and fun. It teaches that worry and fear are not productive, but faith, hope, and determination are. These oils redirect the brain pathways to transform despair into happiness, joy, and abundance. Elevation supports individuals in flowing with life while remaining in peace and light. So if you have some of that oil, you need to regard it as precious. All right, so you could use that to help you feel abundant, to feel like you are going to be loved and cared for, to feel like you're going to be heard, to feel like your opinion is worthwhile, to feel like people want to hear what you have to say and they're willing to listen and that you can work with other people. And I think also it's powerful us if we can get to a neutral place, easier said than done, where we don't fall in the hole with the other person, where we can be the observer. All right, I always have a choice. So sometimes we can feel that we don't have a choice and that we can fall into that hole of childhood, the reacting to being controlled or being hurt or feeling not valid or worthwhile. So as an adult, we can choose. We can still address what the inner child needs, but we need to feel like we have the choice to stay on the edge. We don't have to fall in the hole. All right, I am the valley and the peaks, the river and the rain. So it's like we're both, aren't we? The person that reacts and the person that's being reacted upon. So it's like learning to be able to see what we need to learn in the situation. Easier said than done, but work in progress. All right. So we're talking about, people telling us what to do. How's that feeling now when you think about people telling you what to do? Is it still triggering? Is there more energy to clear? And I'm thinking, Elizabeth, how we feel powerless when we're sick, which I totally agree. I normally have very good health. So maybe being more grateful to our bodies when it is healthy, when we are sick, to understand that there's something that we've been having trouble processing. And it's like we're forced to stop to process. We're not allowed to keep going and ignoring. It's like your body says, no, the buck stops here. We're not delaying this anymore. All right, some other stuck emotions. Right, feeling separated. And I think that's a tool that the bad team uses a lot, not feeling like you're part of or you're included or that you're worthwhile or that your offering is acceptable. I think bad team wants you to feel that, you're not contributing in any way. The world would be better off without you, which is the biggest load of rubbish that ever was. But sometimes we can be tempted to fall in that hole when when life is presenting us some serious lemons, and, we can be struggling to make lemonade with the lemons. All right, so generational baggage can prevent us from making lemonade. Dad's dad. All right, so Chris is saying feeling fear in her stomach. Okay. Age 6. The feeling of hopelessness. And sometimes we can't see how things are going to change. And these difficulties can go on for long parts of our life, and at that point in time, we cannot see how it could possibly change. Okay, back to crown chakra. Right, I am greater than any possession or relationship I have. So this has got a generational component from mum, just mum. So I guess the need to control or the need to feel like you have a say in your life comes from mum and probably from her experiences of feeling that they didn't have something or that they were lacking in some way or they were powerless in some way, and like trying to control things as a way of feeling powerful. All right, so I'm not measured by possessions or connections. Age 6 again. So often, sometimes we have friends that have more things than us, or maybe their situation was easier, and we can be jealous of what they have or the situation that we're in and feel that we missed out. So we're asking if we can release that feeling of missing out in our life. All right, it's okay to peel away the layers and expose the real me. So this one's generational as well. So mum's side and her mum and the women. So 17 generations of women. So it's like they're having to put up this facade of we've got it all together and it's all under control, but not really feeling that. And feeling scared that people would see the real us and that the real us wouldn't be good enough. I'm allowing myself to be peaceful and balanced. So peaceful, yes, balanced, no. So stuff in our mind from our family. My family and I work together for our highest good. And sometimes it doesn't feel like that, does it? When we get triggered and we want to have an argument, it doesn't feel like that's for our greatest good. But if we were to understand that, it's a bit like a splinter that's been stuck and the splinter has to come out so we can release whatever it is. It's a bit like that, but it is difficult sometimes to go through this. All right, our family is strong and protective. Now, if we didn't feel protected as a child, we want to protect our family. Now, sometimes we may give them protection in the way that we didn't get. It may not be the protection that they need. But I guess, a discussion can be had. We feel the support of the past generations and allow their love to fill our home. I really think that that's so important. feel very strongly as I work on people that, some patterns are very long, deep, and hard in families, and it takes more than one generation to clear. And I really feel like the people that we're, working with now, their relatives will love them and are so grateful for them to come and work on all these things. So it's like they are loving you and wanting to support you in getting through all of this. All right, we nurture all who live within the walls of our home. All right, memories of past failures are easily replaced with ongoing successes. And I found, I think I was a domineering mother too with the first five, very confident and strong, and probably rode roughshod over them all. But you know, at different times, I've had to make peace with each one. I've had to apologize for what I did. I've had to have that discussion, trying to understand it from their perspective and, trying to be more willing to be present for them now, even if I failed then. It's like, even if we have done it badly or wrongly, it's like, it doesn't mean that that has to remain like that. It's like the opportunity to change how our relationship is. We can understand we didn't know everything in the past and we didn't get it right, but you know what? We're still willing to try, and we're still willing to be supportive and encouraging, which is the most important thing, that we're willing to change and we're willing to learn and grow. All right, all our needs and wants are met. I'm allowing others to help me meet my needs. So mum's mum and the women, 17 generations of women. All right. So let's check in. How's your tummy going? How's your sick feeling? Anyone else got anything that they would like to add? And let's say, as a questionation, why am I getting so good at getting through the difficulties in life? Why am I so great at seeing past the issues to see the crux of the matter? All right. Well, I think we've had a bit of a long call today, a few glitches at the beginning, so apologies to the people on the Instant Telly seminar that couldn't get on, that wouldn't let me call in on the computer. Anyway, appreciating each of you, appreciating that you've given up your time this morning, grateful to you for who you are, grateful to you for the example that you are, and grateful to you for all that you've overcome in your life. I'm so proud of you that you are doing and have done and are continuing to work on the difficulties, because you inspire me to do that, and I'm grateful. So next week will be Christmas Day. Probably won't do the podcast Christmas Day, but thank you for all that you are and are doing, and I hope that you have a beautiful Christmas. All the best. Bye.